Hi guys, welcome back to Father and Son Investing. Today we're going to revisit I-bonds. You know, there are a number of popular videos out there that discuss why you should wait until April or October to purchase your I-bonds. Today's video is going to discuss why that might not be such a good idea in the current environment. Now, the thinking behind the idea to wait until April or October makes sense in many ways, particularly if you're looking for a guaranteed rate of return for at least 12 months. Let me explain how this line of thinking goes. First of all, you need to know that the semi-annual interest rate for your I-bond is calculated based upon something called the Consumer Price Index from September to March and March to September each year, and thus every 6 months the interest rate is reset. However, that reset interest rate does not occur until November 1st and May 1st. So during October and April, you will already know what the semi-annual interest rate will be for the following 6 months when that interest rate resets. Thus, you can get the current rate, which, by the way, right now is an astounding 9.62%, plus you will get the interest rate that will start on either May 1st or November 1st, and you will know exactly what your bond will yield for the next 12 months. Now, while that works really well for those who want to know exactly how much rate of return they will get for the next 12 months, in the current environment that we're experiencing today, I would argue that you'll be wasting several months worth of money should you do that. Now, as a prelude to my point of why you shouldn't wait until October, let's just talk about inflation quickly. We all know that it's been running hot, but just how hot has it been running? If we look here at the CPIU, the U part stands for all urban customers, so this is the Consumer Price Index for all urban customers. If we look at the month-to-month change, we can see that year to date from January to June, we're running at about 1% per month. However, in the last 2 months, we have exceeded that 1%. If we look at the 12-month change, we will also see that this in general has just been climbing. There was one spot here in April where it declined just a little bit, but otherwise, we've gone from 7.5% per 12 months to 9.1% per 12 months since the beginning of this year. Now, there is another way to look at the Consumer Price Index, and that is something called the CPIU number. I show you this only because this number is important in calculating what the semi-annual interest rate will be. So first of all, you should just know that the baseline period was 1982 to 1984. So if we look here in 1984, January 1984, we'll see that the CPIU number was 101.9. Now I have fast forwarded to 2022, and we see that in January the CPIU number was 281. The two columns highlighted here in yellow are the ones that really matter, and that's because these are the months that are used to calculate the semi-annual inflation rate. For the math lovers out there, here's the formula for calculating the semi-annual inflation rate. You simply take the current CPIU number and subtract the prior CPIU number and divide it by the prior CPIU number. So as an example, the way the current interest rate of 9.62% was calculated, they took the current CPIU of 287.5, subtracted the previous of 274.3, and they came up with 0.0481, which if you double that, of course this is only for 6 months, if you double that to make it annualized for 12 months, you get 9.62%. Now we'll get to the big point of this video, why I think you shouldn't wait until October to buy your I-bond. Now earlier we discussed what the inflation rates have been so far this year. Remember, it's running at about 1% per month. What I've done here is make some estimates of what the future interest rate may be for your I-bond in November of 2022. I have a few scenarios here. Now remember, we already know the first 3 months, April, May, and June. What we're looking at then is July, August, and September. So in the next 3 months, if there's absolutely no increase in inflation, the Fed stops inflation cold, well, we would still have a CPIU number of 296.311 just based on these last few months of CPIU inflation. So at 296.311, that's going to give you an interest rate of 3% for 6 months. You're going to double that to make it annualized, and you'll be looking at 6%. That is 6% if the Fed stops inflation cold in its tracks. No more inflation for the next 3 months. Now, I think we know that that is not very likely to happen. So let's just change the scenario. What if the Fed can get the inflation rate to 0.5% per month for the next 3 months? That would actually be lower than what it has been running at year to date. But what if they can do that? Well, that's going to give us a CPIU number of about 300.7, and that will give our 6-month interest rate of 0.46, and we're going to double that, and we get 9.2%. Not bad, very close to what it's currently running at 9.62%. All right, what if we just have the inflation rate running at what the current average is year to date, right about 1%. That'll give us a CPIU number of 305, and if we calculate the interest rate, we come out with 0.061 for 6 months. We double that, and you're looking at 12.2%. Your I bond earning 12.2% potentially come November 1st. And then the last scenario that we'll touch on, what if the Fed just manages to keep inflation running at the same rate that it did for June, and that would be at 1.4%. That means for the next 3 months, inflation continues at 1.4%. That sounds horrendous for everybody purchasing things, but if you have an I bond that you want to get interest on, not too bad, because what will happen is you'll end up with a CPIU number of 308.5, and that's going to be an interest rate for 6 months of 7.3%. You double that, and you're looking at 14.6% potentially on an I bond, the interest rate running from November 1st up until April 30th. Now, why then do I think that you shouldn't wait until October to purchase your I bond? You don't actually know which of these scenarios is actually going to play out, or it could be none of these scenarios. So why then would you not want to wait until October? Well, let's just talk about what your money will be doing for the next 3 months while you wait until the middle of October when the semi-annual inflation rate is calculated. If you have been purchasing I bonds, you know one thing for certain. You have to hold the bond for 12 months. You cannot turn it back in before you have held it for 12 months. So someone who is purchasing an I bond is not going to need the money for at least 12 months. Now, I think chances are good that if you're not purchasing an I bond yet with that money, that it's probably sitting in a savings account or a CD. Hopefully your money would at least be sitting in a high-yield savings account, not earning 0.05%, but earning something like you see here, where you might get as much as 1.65%. Now, this is an annual rate, 1.65%. I have money that I'm going to need before the next 12 months, and so I have that money parked in a high-yield savings account earning 1.2%. Not all that great, but it's better than 0.05%. Now, let's just think about if you let your money sit in an account such as this for the next 3 months while you wait for October to find out what the interest rate will be on the I bond, well, then your money will be continue to earn its 1.2% or 1.65%. However, what you'll be missing out on is the current interest rate of the I bond, 9.62% annualized. If you do the math and you divide 9.62 by 12 to get it monthly, what you're looking at is about 0.8% per month. That would mean that over the next 3 months, your money would not be earning 0.8% per month. It would be earning about 0.1% per month. When you multiply that for the next 3 months, I say 3 months because that CPI number generally comes out around the middle of the month, so we're looking around the middle of October. You're looking at wasting more than 2% on your money. Now, if it's only $1,000 that you have in I bonds, okay, you're going to lose $20. If you have $10,000 in I bonds, now you're starting to talk about something a little more. You're losing out on $200. That's just for the next 3 months. So I would argue, rather than waiting till October to find out what the new interest rate will be, if you're interested in I bonds and you know you're going to have to hold it for a year, I think it's a very good chance that you could go ahead and purchase your I bond now and know that you will be getting at least 9.2%. Remember, that's if the Fed manages to get the inflation rate down to 0.5% per month for the next 3 months, July, August, September. And I think there's a very good chance that you will be earning something more like 12.1% come November 1st if the Fed just manages to keep inflation at the average that it's been year to date. So to sum up this video, I would say, why wait till October? If you are an I-bond purchaser and you're waiting till October, I think you should rethink that position, because really you're just throwing away about 2% of what your potential yield could be on that money that you're holding while you wait for the new interest rate to be announced. Please remember that I-bonds have to be held for at least 12 months. That's very important if you're looking to get a return on your money, but you need it sooner than 12 months. This is not a good purchase for you. By the way, some of you may be wondering why this is called Father and Son Investing. It's always the father who's been doing the latest videos. Well, that's because the son, my son who started this channel actually, is currently out being a Spanish-speaking missionary. He'll be doing that actually for about the next 12 to 18 months. And so in the meantime, I'm holding down the channel. I'm excited for his adventures as a missionary, but I'm also excited for him to come back so that he can start doing some of these videos. Please share this information with a young person in your life. An I-bond might not be such a bad thing to purchase for them or have them purchase for themselves. If you're not familiar with I-bonds, I've done 2 other I-bond videos talking about the advantages and the disadvantages that you should know before you purchase an I-bond. And as always, until next time, enjoy your investing.